my friends, and today the situation on the front line is extremely active. In addition, there is a significant number of shelling incidents from both the Russian and Ukrainian sides on the occupied territory. Let's start with the statement from the Russian Minister of Defense claiming to have shot down two S-200 missiles of the Sea of Azov. Explosions were heard in Melitopol. Also, in the Djankoy district, explosions were recorded late yesterday evening. All this indicates that the armed forces of Ukraine continue actively eliminating Russians, and very soon they will have to leave this territory. And along the front line, it's simply hell. Russians are storming the entire front line, starting from Kupiansk and ending with the Zaporizhzhia direction. It feels like they want to seize as much territory as possible by a certain date. Therefore, they are throwing all existing forces into the offensive. Maybe there is indeed some secret discussion of a ceasefire, and that's why the Russians want to capture as much territory as possible. Who knows? But let's consider the whole situation in more detail. And let's start with the Avdiivka direction. Here, the occupiers have started storming the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine with even greater force. Attacks are advancing northward towards Novopokrovsk. As you understand, they decided to break through the fields between settlements to expand the foothold as much as possible. Difficult battles are also taking place for Stepove, and fighting has resumed in the area of the coke chemical plant and Stelmakhivka. In addition, since yesterday evening, the occupiers have increased the number of groups advancing in the industrial zone, attempting to shift the front line closer to the outskirts of the city. On the southern flank, there are battles for Severne, and the occupiers managed to break through to Tanenki. Therefore, battles for the village are also being recorded. But that's not all. In the Pervomayske area, the Russians continue their offensive actions. There have been no changes along the front line over the day, but the most challenging battles persist. To the south, in the area of Mariinka, there are reports of battles on the outskirts of the city and intense shelling. It seems that the Russians have thrown all their forces to finally squeeze the armed forces of Ukraine out of the vicinity, as according to the latest data, they didn't manage to fully capture the city. In the Novopokrovsk area, battles continue, but the armed forces of Ukraine successfully defend and even push the Russians further away from the village through successful counterattacks. In the Bakhmut direction, battles continue as well. Here, the Russians are storming the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine with the utmost determination. They are throwing all their forces and attempting to achieve success. However, despite this, the armed forces of Ukraine have successfully repelled all Russian attacks in the Horlivka area. Now, the Russians are trying to break through to Bohdanivka, and battles are already taking place on the outskirts of the village. In addition, they are attempting to advance towards Ivanivske, but they haven't succeeded here. Battles also persist in the areas of Klishchiivka and Andriivka, but over the day they haven't been able to improve their positions. In the Kreminna and Siversk areas, offensive actions by the Russians have resumed in the forest near Kreminna. The occupiers are advancing from the village of Pryvillia, but so far they haven't achieved any success and the battles are ongoing. Shelling is also reported along the entire front line. In the Svatove direction, the occupiers continue their offensive actions towards Stelmakhivka and shell Berestove. There are no changes along the front line. In the Kupiansk direction, there is a significant enemy activation. They are conducting assaults on Synkivka, Petropavlivka and Ivanivka. All attacks are accompanied by shelling of the settlements. However, so far, the armed forces of Ukraine are doing everything to maintain the front line without changes. In the southern directions, there is also significant activation. In the Vuhledar direction, the Russians have initiated an assault on the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine near Vuhledar, and the city is under shelling. In the Staromayorsk area, battles have resumed, and Robotyne is under fire. The occupiers seem to have regrouped and launched new attacks with increased intensity. However, there are no changes along the front line within a day. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the number of groupings near Verbove has increased, and attacks have begun in the Novopokrovsk area. There is no successes for the Russians near Robotyne, so the front line remains unchanged. In the Kherson direction, shelling continues, and the Russians actively use aviation. There are no changes along the front line, but the Russians have dared to confirm their recent strike on the Russian base in Novopokrovsk village and request to relocation of command posts further from the front line.
We confirm the information about the arrival in the village of Novopokrovsk. Unfortunately, the information is true. On November 28, the enemy launched a missile attack on the command post of the 10th Special Forces Brigade. We know the number of dead and wounded, but we will not write about it yet, so as not to please the enemy. Officers, do not forget the importance of camouflage, dispersion and secrecy of command posts. Your lives and the lives of your subordinates depend on it. Yes. The distance from Novopokrovsk to the front line is 22 kilometers. Isn't it time for the command of the Dnipro main military command to think about withdrawing the command posts of units and formations to a safer distance from the front line, at least beyond the Novopokrovsk-Armyansk border? Otherwise, it is only a matter of time before new arrivals occur.
It seems that a gesture of goodwill might be expected soon. Meanwhile, a banner reading "Russian borders never end" is displayed at the border between Russia and Estonia at the Ivanhorod-Narva border crossing point. The Putin regime is provoking European countries and wants the borders to be closed. This would allow the regime to accuse the West of establishing an Iron Curtain, and Russia is gradually turning into North Korea. Also, yesterday, on December 2nd, a demonstration supporting Russia and Novorossiya took place in the center of Paris. Protesters called for an end to the supply of military aid to Ukraine. As far as I know, there have been few such demonstrations recently. Now, Russia, feeling that Ukraine is mentioned less and less, is again organizing such demonstrations. Therefore, it's crucial to talk about the ongoing war using all possible platforms. Despite the fatigue, this is another challenging stage of the war. And the Secretary General of NATO commented on the situation in Ukraine.
Ich bin immer vorsichtig, Vorhersagen über die tatsächliche Situation an der Front zu machen. Denn Kriege sind von Natur aus unberechenbar. Das Einzige, was wir wissen, je mehr wir die Ukraine unterstützen, desto schneller wird dieser Krieg vorbei sein. Es liegt an uns, Putin das Gegenteil zu beweisen. Uns muss klar sein, dass es für die Ukraine eine Tragödie wäre, wenn Präsident Putin gewinnt. Aber es wäre auch für uns gefährlich. Es liegt in unserem eigenen Interesse, dafür zu sorgen, dass sich die Ukraine durchsetzt. Wir hatten alle auf mehr Fortschritt gehofft.
Ja, aber warum funktioniert es nicht?
Kriege sind schwer zu planen. Wir müssen sehen, wo wir am Anfang mal standen. Ja, es stimmt. In den letzten Monaten hat sich an der Front nicht viel bewegt. Aber die Ukrainer konnten den russischen Streitkräften durch Angriffe mit Marschflugkörpern tief hinter den feindlichen Linien schwere Verluste zufügen, Flugzeuge und Hubschrauber zerstören und sie konnten die russische Schwarzmeerflotte in den östlichen Teil des Schwarzen Meeres zurückdrängen.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.